Love is a one in a million. It goes on and on and on. You give all.
Hey there, beautiful people. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Lincy P. If you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by, and if you've been here before, hey girl, hey, nice to see you again. So you guys can see by the title, summer is about to be summering, looks are about to be served, but we need to make sure that our makeup is staying in place whenever we leave out the house. So I have a few tips and tricks that I have learned, things that I have tested. This is kind of an updated video because I think I did one last year to how to make your makeup last and kind of how to get sweat-proof makeup when, you know, wherever you live is starting to get to those 80s and 90s, because I know for sure here in Chicago it's about to start getting hot. So here are just a few tips that you can implement to help your makeup last longer and definitely get you some sweat-proof results. So if you're interested in seeing that, be sure to stick through the end so you get all of the tips. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into it. So first things first is you want to make sure that your skin is moisturized. Now, my skin is already moisturized because I filmed another video, so I been did my skincare way earlier this morning. But yes, you want to make sure your skin is moisturized, even if you are oily or combination skin, because if your skin is dry, it's going to overproduce oil, and we don't want that because we want our skin to be nice and balanced so that once we put our makeup on, it doesn't, you know, do too much when it comes to the oils. So for moisturizer today, I did use my Skinfix Barrier Plus Gel Moisturizer, and to top it off, I also do use an oil. I use the ordinary rosehip oil after my moisturizer, and then I go in with my sunscreen. Now, when moisturizing, you want to do this at least 15 to 20 minutes before your makeup so that it has time to really settle into the skin. Next step, we're actually going to go in and prep the face with powder right on top of our moisturizer. So powder is just going to mattify and act as a protective barrier, and it's going to give you a little bit of coverage. Where's the powder brush? So you want to actually do this with a skin tone powder. So for my powder, I'm going in with the Mercier Deep. And you're just going to take a very light layer of it. I need to actually buy some more of this. And just kind of sweep it all over the face. For this step, I definitely recommend using a loose powder. You don't want to add too much coverage, so you want to stay away from foundation powders or pressed powders. Just something to really kind of set that moisturizer in place and remove that slip so that you're starting with kind of a clean canvas. But obviously, we just put powder on our face, and we want to make sure that that powder is settled into the skin. So the next thing that you're going to do is actually go in with a setting spray. I like to use something that is long lasting as a base, but you could also use this step to go in with like a primer water or a primer spray. That should work fine as well. But today I'm going to go in with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Setting Spray. Do you guys like my new lighting? I'm kind of feeling it because it's giving true to tone. I'm here for it. Let me know in the comments if y'all peep and if y'all like it. Alright, so after you go in with your setting spray, we're gonna prime. Okay, so your primer, you're gonna do according to your skin type. So if you're dry, this is the time to use something hydrating. But if you're oily, this is the time where you can go in and mattify because we've already moisturized. So I am combination, so I'm actually going to do a combination of primers. I'm going to do my e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer in the areas that I am not oily, and in the areas that I'm oily, I'm going to take my Yves Saint Laurent blotting lotion, my YSL blotting lotion, and just put that in the areas that I get oily. So for me, that's going to be my T-zone, around my nose, And I just always hit my chin just because, but I don't really get sweaty there. It's more just this area right here. And then everywhere else, I'm gonna go in with my e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer. Okay, so now our skin is prepped and we are ready to apply our foundation. For foundation, when it is extremely hot outside, less is more. So I'm actually gonna color correct before we go in with our foundation. And you guys know I'm just using my tried and true. This is the NARS color corrector. Alright. So the reason I color correct is because I just find that I don't have to go in with so much product to get the finished look that I want if I just use a layer of color correcting, because I'm not doing product overload to try to cancel out any darkness that I don't want to peek through. So I do actually recommend getting a color corrector if you want your makeup to last, because the way you layer your products is actually really, really important. And I like the NARS one because it is super lightweight, like almost like putting water on your face. I feel like I have nothing on my face, but obviously you guys can see I have color corrector on. So if you are in the market for something that is lightweight, which if you're trying to achieve long-lasting sweat-proof makeup, I recommend lightweight products so that your skin can still breathe. So color correcting, we're done with that. So now to go on with your foundation. Now, depending on the finish that you want, you can pick any foundation. But if you're oily combo, I highly recommend that you go in with something either with a mattifying finish or a natural finish. I do not recommend anything dewy unless you're on the dry spectrum. So for me, I'm gonna go in with the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Skin Foundation. And I think that this has a mattifying finish, and natural finishes can be mattified with setting powders and such. So that's the reason I recommend them. So I'm just gonna shake this up, and this is in the shade 4R72. And for my foundation, I'm only going to use one pump. That's it. Just like with the powders, less is more. Reason being so that my skin can still breathe. And remember guys, the foundation doesn't have to give you that full layer of coverage at first, because you're gonna go in with concealer and powders and stuff, and all that stuff adds coverage. So if you try to get a full coverage look upon initial application, your skin is gonna suffocate and you're gonna sweat. So light layers is the best way to go. And if you're noticing, I am really focusing the foundation on the perimeter of my face. I'm trying to avoid anywhere underneath my eyes, as well as a very light layer around my nose or anywhere that has creasing, because the less product you put there, the less creasing and sweating that can happen, because your skin can breathe. So, all right, now it is time for concealer. So for concealer today, I'm gonna go in with the One Size Beauty Concealer because I don't need much, and I'm not gonna have to layer a lot to get the coverage that I want. And same thing with concealer, guys. Less is more. This is a pretty thick concealer, so I'm not going to apply too much. Now, as I've mentioned before, this concealer dries down pretty fast, so you want to blend it right away, y'all. Alright, now that my concealer is pretty blended out, I mean it's still harsh, I'm gonna go in with a beauty blender just to make sure that my complexion doesn't move. I'm actually gonna go in again. So I blended everything once. I'm gonna go in again with my Airbrush Flawless Finish Setting Spray. And I'm going to, because this is a long lasting spray, it adds a little extra layer of protection that should help with sweat resistance. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray my complexion base and use that and kind of blend that into my makeup and finish blending my concealer and everything together with my beauty blender. So this does two things. It helps with longevity and it helps with getting no harsh lines between my foundation and my concealer. For contour, I'm going in with my Makeup Revolution stick. And again, light layers of everything. So I'm not gonna sweep my contour. I'm just gonna add just a little bit here. Use a little bit here to lift. And then we're gonna blend out. I think sometimes we forget that when you're blending, your products are meant to spread. So you don't need to put the product everywhere that it will eventually end up, because when you blend it out, it's gonna be there anyway. Let me not forget to blend this jawline, child. We'll be out here looking crazy. And to carve my cheekbones, I'm not gonna go on with any extra products because this already has some on it. And again, I'm trying to keep everything lightweight. So it's not gonna be super dramatic, but you can see just by using the leftover product that's on my concealer brush, I can kind of carve that out. So the next thing you're gonna wanna do is go on with a powder. So I'm gonna go on with my Demablend setting powder. And similar to the same ways that we applied our cream and liquid products is the same way we're gonna apply our powder products. We're gonna layer lightly and not take off more than we need. So I'm gonna dip my sponge and then I'm actually gonna tap off the excess powder just to have just enough on the sponge to go ahead and set everywhere that I applied that concealer. And for the first layer, I'm just pressing it in. I'm not baking or anything yet. I just want everything that I put down not to move. I haven't used this in a while, but since we're going in with the Makeup Forever foundation, I'm gonna go in with the Makeup Forever pressed powder. I use the shade Y535. And I'm going to take a very light layer. So remember when I told you guys earlier, when applying the foundation, it doesn't need to be full coverage because we're gonna add products that add coverage and we still want breathable skin. I'm gonna say it again. The key to getting sweat-proof makeup is to layering lightly. So I'm just gonna take this powder, and if you know anything about this powder, it can be full coverage. So I'm gonna take it and tap off the excess and then just tap lightly over anywhere that I did not already set with the translucent powder. So the perimeter of the face, so my cheeks and around the brim of my forehead, and that's that. And for blush, I'm gonna go in with the Sephora collection blush in Tiger Lily because it's summer and we stand a nice orange tone blush in the summertime. And you guys seen that TikTok trend where they say to apply your blush all the way up to your eyes, but pink? I find that for deeper skin tones, it looks really good when you do that with like an orange or coral shade. So I actually start at the apples of my cheek, and I use this brush specifically for it. This is a Sephora Pro Angle Diffuser brush because the tips obviously diffuse up here, so less product goes underneath the eye, but you still get that color payoff. So if you wanted to try that trend, but the pink just isn't your zhuzh or doesn't work for you, try it with the orange. Now, our face is already kind of bronzed and defined, so if you really wanted to keep it light, you could just you know, finish off the eyes, brows, lips, and base wise be done. But y'all know I'm extra, so I'm going in with a bronzer. And for my bronzer, I also want to keep it lightweight, so I'm gonna go with NARS. We haven't tried this one in a while. This is the Punta Cana bronzer, which I know it looks a little bit ashy. We've discussed this, y'all, but when I put it on, it works. So I don't know, but I really just want something more so to just add a little dimension, not do too much. Use that to set my nose contour. Now that the face is set, and now this is your time to go in and bake if that's your thing. If you are dry, I would just stop here, but if you really want that extra added security, this is the time to go ahead and take that extra step. So for my oily combo girls, this is for you. I'm not sure, I've really been loving the Givenchy. One of you guys corrected me the last time I used this powder because I said Givenchy. It's Givenchy. I saw the comment. I've really been loving this powder, but I also kind of want to go with my Laura Mercier Honey because I haven't used it in a while. So I don't know. Which one do you, I think I'm gonna do Laura Mercier today. Now when picking a baking powder, you want something that is mattifying but not drying. So like, unless you're super oily, like the Fenty Beauty setting powders, I would never bake with those. I would set and go because they're already super mattifying. But something like the Laura Mercier that isn't going to dry out all of the work that we just did is perfect for baking. And we're gonna do the same thing we did with the Demablend. So I tap into the pod, I guess, and then I actually tap access off out of the lid, and then go in again and tap access onto the back of my hand. Look at all that access powder. Don't need that. And then I'm going to lightly just use whatever is left to bake. To carve out my cheekbones, I actually don't even dip back into the powder. I just use whatever is on the back of my hand just so I don't get that super stark line. So we're gonna let that set while we do our eyeshadow. And I'm going to work today, y'all, so eyeshadow, it's not gonna be nothing for real. I'm gonna do something very light, very simple, but I don't want to do just bronzer, so I don't know. We'll use our bronzer as our transition and then see what else I come up with from there. So I just said nothing crazy because I'm going to work, but I'm definitely feeling like a smoky green look. But it's not gonna be the most. It's not gonna be the most. So I'm actually gonna go in on top of that bronzer. I'm gonna take my Natasha Denona Zenda palette, and I'm gonna take my favorite shade, which looks like puke, but it's bomb. This is the shade Zeal. And I'm just gonna work that right in the crease. I really should take a different brush. And then I'm going to take this shade, I don't know what this is, but this dark green shade right here, just because I feel like I could blow it out really nicely without it being like too much overkill for the office, but still giving me my green fix. Did I just find a dupe? These almost look the exact same. Wait a minute now. I'm gonna just take a little bit of this True Green and sweep it. Whoop, not what I wanted, but okay. Sweep it kind of in the inner, I don't know, y'all. third of my eye, but a very light layer of it. And I'm not packing because I don't want hella color payoff, and y'all know Juvia's place can be very pigmented, but it looks good. Now to lighten that up a bit, I'm gonna go in with this Bounce shade right here, just to soften that smokiness just a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my brows. Guys, and at this point, I mean, the base is pretty much done and you're pretty much set for your foundation to be locked in for hours in 90-degree heat. But we have put all this powder on our face and we want our face to look definitely more skin-like. So for the last setting is when I would go with a setting spray. So this is more for longevity, where this is more for finishing. So your Morphe continuous spray or a Max Fix Plus or something like that. Now is the time to go in with that type of spray and just put your final touches on everything. Alright guys, and then for lashes today, I have these old Kiss lashes that I just had kind of laying around, and I'm gonna do a half lash with them today. And really, I'm just gonna cut off like a third of the lash, like right here. I guess I should cut it off. Should I cut it off from, no, from the inside, right? Because yeah, we're gonna do that. All right, so while that lash glue is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and line my lips. So y'all hear me talk about Spunked, but this was actually my favorite liner of all time since college. And you can tell because look how small it is. This is the NYX liner in the shade Y826. I don't know if they make this anymore. I think you can find it on Amazon, or sometimes I can find it at the beauty supply store, but when I go into like Ulta, I can never find it. So check it out on Amazon, but it's like the perfect, I guess, cool tone brown. It's definitely not warm. It's like a cool tone plum brown, and it just goes with everything. And then for lipstick, I'm gonna go on with the Nima Tang X Dose of Colors Nude. This is the shade Penny. And then for gloss, I'm going with the Dose of Colors gloss. Y'all know I never know what the shade of this gloss is called, but I will have it linked down below. And I'm just gonna focus that right in the center. And just to make my lashes a little extra va-va-voom, I'm gonna go with some mascara. And there you have it, guys. This is how I achieved my long-lasting sweat-proof makeup that will get you through 80, 90, and maybe even above, child. Get you through that humidity for your summertime beat. And I'm obsessed. So if you don't take away anything else from the video, the key is really just knowing how to layer your products accordingly and using as minimal product as possible to get the desired outcome so that your skin doesn't overproduce oil. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out some of my other goodness and my other videos below. Stick around for a while, don't be a stranger. And follow your girl on Instagram if you're interested in seeing more of me, and maybe a little bit of TikTok. I'm trying to get into more TikTok. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found it helpful, and I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Smooches.
love.